Thank you to the Wolfeboro Lions Club for underwriting Nutritional Wisdom. The Wolfeboro Lions Club is committed to helping the community with health concerns such as diabetes prevention and preservation of sight and hearing. The Wolfeboro Lions Club meets on the second and fourth Tuesday of the month in the 1812 room at the Wolfeboro Inn. Members of the community are encouraged to attend meetings or visit the website e-clubhouse.org/sites/Wolfeboro for more information.
Hi, it's Patty Walker, registered dietitian and certified diabetes educator and your host of Nutritional Wisdoms. Today is the third in a series of interactive diabetes classes. I hope you've had a chance to watch the previous episodes. And as always, we're going to continue to use the Conversation Map series to engage discussion. In today's show, again, I welcome my guests from episode 2, Michelle and Shelley. We're going to jump right back in and continue our discussion on the important factors that affect blood sugars. We're going to move on to the food and diabetes. And oh my gosh, I mean, this could be 5 episodes. So because of that, we know that food is one of the biggest impacts of your blood sugar. Stress is also a really, really big impact of blood sugar. But food does impact your blood sugar. So as regarding types of food, what would you say what types of food have the biggest impact on blood sugars?
Like pro or con, up or low?
How about both? What would be something that would cause blood sugars to go up? What types of food?
Cakes and candies and sweets.
Yep.
Carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates, cakes, candies, sweets. Yep. Other carbohydrates. Corn. Peas. I love it. People said, those are vegetables. I can eat all the vegetables. I'm like, unfortunately, corn, peas, and potatoes and winter squash are starchier vegetables.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it gets really confusing. Are there foods that don't impact your blood sugar?
Water.
You're right. Go on the water diet. I love it. Yeah.
I don't think that counts as a food.
But protein, people will say, oh, protein doesn't, I can eat eggs and it doesn't cause my blood sugars to go up. So if you're a person with type 1 diabetes and you only have eggs for breakfast, you may choose not to give yourself insulin because it's not going to have a big impact because protein becomes amino acids. Unfortunately, what a lot of people don't understand is that we don't store extra amino acids, so those amino acids have to become something. So if you eat extra protein, 3 to 5 hours later, it gets converted to glucose. So you're going to have a rise 3 to 5 hours later with with too much protein. And fat itself, if you had a teaspoon of margarine or if you had a handful of nuts, something high in fat or like a half an avocado, it's not really going to affect your blood sugars because fatty foods turn to fatty acids. But if you have a meal that's high in fat actually slows the rise of your blood sugars. So an hour or 2 later, your blood sugars are going to be lower, but 3 hours later, they're going to be higher than you expect. So food does impact your blood sugars. And so, it's not just looking at carbohydrates, it's looking at composition and things. So, so there are 3 major things that I will say in general regarding food. And if you notice on the screen, you're going to see the top of the food stand. And there are 3 things that affect your blood sugars the most. And the first is, what you eat. So you had mentioned before carbohydrates, sugars, cakes, candies. They absolutely are carbohydrates. All carbohydrates turn to glucose, which is blood sugar. So whenever you have foods with carbohydrates, it's going to impact your blood sugar.
Yeah.
The more refined it is, so I mean sugar or white flour or enriched flour, the more it's processed into a powdery type substance, the quicker it's going to raise your blood sugar.
Really?
Yeah. So we had mentioned in the first class, one of the myths or facts was, does fiber help improve your blood sugars? And fiber does. So that's why eating a piece of fresh fruit is going to have a lower impact on your blood sugar than drinking a glass of orange juice.
Right.
Yeah, so fiber is your friend in that regard.
Great.
So So what you eat will impact your blood sugar. And then how much you eat. So some people with diabetes have a really healthy diet, but if they eat too much, they're going to have high blood sugars. So, that's something. Or if they don't eat enough, it's going to have low blood sugars. So I've seen that before. This poor woman, she ended up in the emergency room. She had eggs and a half a donut for breakfast and took too much insulin. And so she ends up in the emergency room, and she says, I can't believe it was low blood sugars. And I said, well, your problem was you didn't finish your donut. So not that I'm proposing donuts, but as I mentioned before, all foods can fit in moderation. And so if you don't eat enough carbohydrates, or if you eat too much carbohydrates, you're going to see an immediate impact. But I have clients very confused about, well, I had a 12-ounce steak. Why is my blood sugars high 3 hours later? There's no carbohydrates in the steak. It does impact your blood sugar. And then the last one on the top is you have what you eat, how much you eat, and when you eat. So that is an important topic too, because years ago the first oral diabetes medications actually caused low blood sugars if you didn't have meals and snacks. And so I used to work at the nursing home, and the people over age 70, 80, 15, 20 years ago they were on those medications, or they had started on those medications, and they were told you need 3 meals and 3 snacks a day.
Right.
That's not the case anymore. Most of those medications aren't more common. They're not the more common ones. And so we have new medications that don't cause low blood sugar, so you don't have to necessarily eat 3 meals and 3 snacks. Some people only eat 1 meal a day. Some people eat 3 meals a day. Right. Some people, have a snack at bedtime. So it's very individualized now. And it's important to be individualized because, as we know, food has the greatest impact of anything, I would say. I mean, yes, stress and activity are definitely going to affect your blood sugar, but food, we're talking 3 to 5 times a day. You're introducing food to your body, and that impact is going to make a difference. So it's so important to, if you have diabetes, to see a diabetes educator and a dietitian and get an individualized plan, because with some people it may be just cut out the sugars.
Right.
That's the best we can do. Let's like change the juice to water and not put the sugar in the coffee, and change the cereal to a lower sugared cereal, and make what sounds like small changes really big impacts.
Right.
And then you have people that say, well, what can I do to reverse my diabetes? And it's like, when I first became a certified diabetes educator, that was like a taboo. It's like, you don't reverse your diabetes. Now you can. Yeah. Now we know there's evidence that you can, with a very whole food, plant-based, low-fat diet. And so I teach my clients what they want to know, how much information is appropriate for them, and what are their goals is what we can do. So it's no longer a one-size-fits-all diet plan. So when it comes to food and diabetes, you really, really need to have it individualized so that it's going to make the most amount of sense for your lifestyle.
And the fact that you just said that you can actually reverse it is really pretty amazing.
And unheard of.
Yeah.
People are not talking about it, but the information's been out there. They've known it. 2009, the EPIC study in Europe. 2011, the Blue Zone studies. Very few of the people in the Blue Zones have any diabetes. There are areas in Africa that are on a whole food plant-based diet. Not only don't they have diabetes, they don't have high blood pressure. They have zero cases of heart disease, because it's their norm. They're active. They just have a diet that doesn't increase the risk of it. So there's lots we can do now as far as adjusting food and modifying foods to an individual level to help you with whatever your goals are.
Right.
Okay.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Before I get off the food, any challenges with food? That's a big topic. What are the biggest challenges that people with diabetes have with food, do you think?
You can't have this, you can't have that, or you go to someone's house and they go, oh my gosh, he or she has diabetes, and what do I serve them? And
Yeah.
so
And cost. It's
Yeah.
cheaper to buy.
yeah.
It is.
It's cheaper to buy yucky processed food than it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Processed foods are far less expensive than the whole grain alternatives.
And they're the first thing you walk into when you walk into
That's
a
true.
grocery store.
Yep. Oh, it is. I mean, first they have the scent in the grocery store. They waft the scent of the bakery's goods, and
Yep.
so and then the bakery's right there. So you want it.
And it's the last thing on as you check out.
Yep. And where are the sugared cereals in the cereal aisle?
Eye level.
Eye level of the kids.
Yep.
Yep. I know that the marketing is really bad. So it's certainly very difficult to be 100% compliant. It's not impossible, but it is. I mean, once you start throwing in social engagements, going out to dinner, going to a friend's house,
Right.
and entertaining people at your house that have diabetes. I had a friend, I made a low sugared pie I'm having a friend over that has diabetes. I made a low sugared pie. I said, so what did you do? Well, there's the pie crust, and then there's the apples, and then, I'm like, it's all carbohydrates. It's going to cause high blood sugars.
Right.
And they're like,
Right.
but it's sugar free. Isn't that good? And I'm like, an apple? But that said, any food can fit in moderation.
Right.
So, the holidays are coming up.
Right.
There's no reason not to have a small piece of pie at Thanksgiving.
Moderation.
Moderation will go a long way. And sometimes it's just awareness and simple changes. Okay, so again, this is an area where a dietitian, especially one certified in diabetes education, can be a big help. Customizing those diet choices is an important part, so that we can understand what your food preferences are, what your past medical history is, your current medications. All of that will make a difference as far as the best diet for you. So if you have any questions about diet, I'd be more than happy to have you give me a call, and let's see what we can do about it.
Great.
Okay? Yeah. All right. So, individualization is going to make a big difference in your overall control. I will say vegetables always trump. So if you're ever confused about what can I have, always have more vegetables. Okay?
Even the peas and the corn?
Good question. Peas and corn, not as much. I think of the low-calorie vegetables, the lower calories. So corn, peas, potato, and winter squash do have more carbohydrates, so you want to eat a little bit less of that. There's a simple trick I teach my clients for meal, just for portion size. You have a plate, you have 2 hands, 2 handfuls of low-calorie vegetables should be on half your plate. Quarter of your
Tell
plate.
my husband that.
Quarter of your plate is your fist. Your fist is your carbohydrate, whether it's corn, peas, potato, rice, noodles, I don't care. Quarter of the plate, or 2 slices of bread if it's a sandwich. And then the last is your protein. And your protein, we all have palms. Palm is this size, not your fingers, but palm size for a quarter of the plate. So that's a 3 to 5 ounce portion of protein. And if you stick with that portion control, you're going to have better blood sugar control.
Wow. Good to know.
So, all right. So another key aspect regarding diabetes control is activity. So what are some of the benefits of activity?
Blood sugars.
Yeah.
Lower blood sugars, absolutely.
It's healthy.
It's healthy. What else can activity do?
Mentally help you too.
Ooh, yep. It helps with mental clarity and just feeling good. It helps with depression. But what else can activity help you do?
Lose weight.
Lose weight. Yay, the winner. There's a 20 point question. Yes. So losing weight is, and if you have a 5 to 10% weight loss and maintain that, that's one of the key things to reverse diabetes and get it even into the pre-diabetes range. So sometimes just weight loss alone and being active is really an important facet.
First key.
Yep. So I encourage clients a minimum of 15 minutes most days of the week. So try not to skip 2 days in a row, but 15 minutes of continuous activity without stopping. So if you're walking a dog, it's not walking a dog that's sniffing and peeing and you're standing there. It's walking the dog or having the dog walk you. But you want continuous activity, and that would be very, very helpful for your blood sugar control. All right. And the types of activity can be anything from high intensity to walking, to swimming, to jogging, to riding a bike, to yoga. But the ones with continuous movement are the ones that will make the biggest impact in your blood sugar. Now, if you do strength training, which is weightlifting and things, that actually will help burn the fat that's in your abdominal area, which will help you lose weight quicker. So both types of activity are really important for diabetes control. So I encourage both, as well as stretching.
And it's good for women's bones as
Oh
well.
my gosh, yes, it's an excellent point. Yep, strength training helps with women's bones. So what do you think barriers to activity would be, especially where we live? Weather.
Work. Work environment.
Weather, work, there's always barriers
Time.
to activity. Now, we all have 24 hours in a day. I don't ever accept time as an excuse. But it's best to schedule the activity in. It really will make a big difference. And how you, and to make the decision on the activity is also important, because if you say, I'm going to walk 15 minutes in the morning every morning, and the first morning, and you're not used to walking, and the first morning you wake up and it's dark and it's a little cold out, and you say, oh God, do I want to walk? Your brain's going to say, no way, Jose, go back to bed. But if you lay out your sneakers and you have everything prepared before you go to bed, and you say, do I want to walk? Your brain's going to say, well, you kind of already have the stuff ready. Or another question to say is, oh, it's cold, dark, and rainy. I can't walk now. When else today can I get this activity in? Your brain is going to have an answer. So, trying to rephrase the question to after you've made the decision to be active will be important.
Better yet, have a buddy at your house saying, let's go.
Oh, yeah, buddy system. That's very, very important. If you have someone depending on you, you are more apt to do activity. Now, some people like solo activity. I mean, tennis, I love the socialization, but when I'm running or going out for a run, I prefer to do it by myself because I can't talk when I run. And I look pretty sweaty when I'm done. So it's like, let me shower, let me get going. All right. So activity is very, very important. It's actually one of the secret weapons for diabetes control. And then, of course, there's diabetes medications, and that is another fundamental way that we help control blood sugars to prevent long-term complications. So there are many types of diabetes medications, and we are going to be devoting an entire show in the future on the different types, categories, and what exactly they do and how they work. So I am happy to answer any questions you might have about diabetes medications now, and just know we'll be going more in depth in the future. So any questions about any diabetes medications?
Just one, and that is just how some just wreak havoc with your body.
Oh
and
my gosh.
It's really challenging.
It is.
It makes you not want to stick with your plan.
Yeah. I think I had read once that, first of all, about 50% of the prescriptions are not refilled after the first month. So you think that they're on medication and they're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, every medication can have side effects. If it's insulin, it could be low blood sugars or weight gain. If it's metformin, and again, we'll talk about these, but it can be stomach cramps and gas and diarrhea, and so, and the cost of medications and the inconvenience
Yes.
of going to the pharmacy to get the medication. So there are lots of barriers when it comes to medication. So in my practice, my goal is always to, again, focus on the lifestyles, focus on the root cause of why the diabetes is happening, with the goal of perhaps reducing or eliminating medications. I have a good number of clients that are not on medication for diabetes, and they are just managing it with lifestyle.
Wow.
It's not always the case. It's usually statistically 15 to 20% of people with diabetes can do it with lifestyle. But when you have the right information and it's individualized for you, it makes more sense than when you understand the why and how of things. Yeah, but medication is a big category. It's an important category because, again, our goal, and actually the Lions Club goal, is to prevent long-term complications. So medication would be a big part of that. Okay, so and then finally, I really can't emphasize enough the importance of having a support network. So again, you are the driver of the bus, and who you put on the bus is up to you. So who are people that you want in your bus to help you with your management of diabetes? Who are some of those people? Fill up the bus. Who can you add? Who can you
Family,
invite?
PCP,
Family, your PCP,
VNA.
VNA, absolutely. Yeah, they do a great job.
Nutritionist.
Dietitian, nutritionist, yep, those are important people. So other people, your dentist, you should have your teeth cleaned twice a year. Increased risk of dental infections if you have diabetes. Eye doctor, again, comprehensive eye exam annually. Some people, podiatrists, because foot issues, you should be doing a daily inspection of your foot to make sure that there's no cuts, sores, open areas, because they won't heal as quickly if you have uncontrolled diabetes. So a podiatrist could be a really, really important person. Other people could be a endocrinologist, which is a doctor specializing in diabetes management and hormones. So people see an endocrinologist for their thyroid or their diabetes or the big ones, adrenal fatigue, those types of things. And kidney doctors and heart doctors are important people for your team. But getting the information, getting tested, we're going to talk about these in future episodes, but just want to make sure you all have support. Diabetes is, half the people over age 60 have diabetes or prediabetes. So it's not taboo. It's better to ask questions, get the information, get the support you need, instead of doing this on your own.
Yep.
It's going to be an easier journey.
Yep.
Okay?
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge, thank you. Knowledge is power, and we're here to help.
And I
Okay?
love the one size does not fit all.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's good to know.
Yep, that is, and that's why diets fail, because one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
It's like, oh, my friend went on a keto diet, so that must be the best diet for me. And it's like, nope, that's not always the case. So, all right. So thank you so much for coming. Again, this is so helpful to our audience members.
Thank you, Patty.
And we greatly appreciate it. Again, please share this video with friends and family. If you haven't seen episode 1, please go back and see episode 1, because it's going to give you good information on other aspects of general diabetes control. And if you have any questions about anything we've talked about, feel free to give me a call. And then again, our next episode is going to be on monitoring your blood sugars and how to monitor different places on your body to monitor, and what to do with those values. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for coming and for watching. And until next time, we wish you good health.